Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Hello everyone, my name is Mufidela Husni, study ID number 18053075. I'm from Economic Education, Faculty Economy, University of Padang. This video I will explain about demand for money. Definition. The demand for money is the desired holding of financial assets in the form of money, that is, cash or bank deposits. Three approaches to demand for money. First, classical approach. Second, neoclassical approach. And the last, the third, Keynesian approach. Okay, next. Classical approach. According to classical economists, people demand money for transaction purposes, that is, to carry out their economic transaction over a period of time. The main aspects of the classical approach are as follows. First, money is demanded as a means of payment. Second, the amount of money demand depends on the volume of transaction and price level. Third, the change in the velocity of circulation of money changes the quantity of money demanded. The classical approach can be explained in terms of Fisher equation of exchange, which has been stated below. MV equals PT, where M is money supply, V is transaction velocity of money, P price level, T transaction, PT is demand for money, MV equals supply of money. Neoclassical approach. Neoclassical approach. According to this approach, people wish to hold on in certain proportion or key of national output in the form of money. There exists a proportional relationship between the demand for money or MD and the money value of national output. The demand for money can be expressed as follows. MD equals KW, where 0 minus K minus 1. MD is demand for money, K constant proportion of Y money value of national output. And the next about Keynesian theory of demand for money. Approach to determine the demand for money is based on money two important functions: medium for exchange and store of value. Keynes lists the following three motives for holding money. A. Transaction motive. B. Precautionary motive. C. Speculative motive. Transaction motive. This motive refers to the demand for money by the public for making and changing in transactions of all kinds. The amount of money held for the transaction motive depends on the following factors. First, level of income. Second, time interval. Third, price level. And the last, volume of employment. The transaction motive is further classified as follows. A. Income motive. It refers to the transaction demand for money by earners of which and salary to carry out transactions of all kinds such as rent payments and electricity bill payments. Money held for this purpose declines over the income's interval period, the income at the end of the period being zero. Example, an employee receives a salary of INR 20,000 every month. His monthly expenses include rent, food, movies, books, and stationery. In the first month, he deposited 20,000 in the bank. This money is withdrawn for various purposes and the account runs down to zero over the course of the month. B. Business motive. It refers to the demand for money by business firms to carry out their day-to-day transactions, such as payment of electricity bills, rent, raw material, and wages. The money held by the firm declines over a period of time. Example, Uber has raised 11.5 billion capital up to 2016. It is raising funds for full global expansion to prepare itself for the rising number of regulatory battles and for its aggressive pricing, cutting, and marketing promotion. Precautionary motive. The motive refers to the desire of people to hold on the cash balance unforeseen contingencies such as sickness and accidents. Similarly, businessmen keep cash in reserve to survive unfavorable conditions or to gauge from unexpected deals. The transaction and precautionary motive of holding money are primarily influenced by the level of income. C. Speculative motive. Speculative simple means guessing the change in value of an asset to make profit. It related to the desire to hold on to one's resources in liquid form to take advantage of future change in the interest rate or bond price. It is also called asset demand for money and is related to the store of value, function of money. It is income elastic at a higher rate of interest, less money is held for this motive and vice versa. The change in the market rate of interest and security price can be expressed as follows. P equals R divided N multiply N, where P is market price of the security, return on the security, N equals market rate of interest, and N is original price of the security. people do not hold on to cash when the rate of interest is higher because of the following reason. The opportunity cost of holding idle cash is higher. Security price at the time of higher interest rate are low, which induce investors to purchase them. There are four determinants of the demand for money. A. Price level. Assuming full employment and a constant volume of transaction, the demand for money depends on the price level. Relaxing the assumption of full employment, the demand or money is determined by the price level or P and the level of transaction or T, that is PT. D. Income. The transaction and precautionary demand for money depends on income. Higher the income, the more is the money held for submotives and vice versa. Okay, next, C. Interest rate. When people hold on the cash or idle balance, they incur an opportunity cost in terms of foregone interest. The demand for investment in various assets depends on the interest rate. The demand for money for motives other than transaction and precautionary is a function of the rate of interest and is inversely related to the rate of interest. D. Velocity of circulation of money. The demand for money and the velocity of its circulation are inversely related. Higher the velocity of circulation of money, the less is the demand for money and vice versa. About the quantity theory of money. To understand the quantity theory of money already, our dollar bill, well, that's money, which we present with the letter M. How many times that dollars get used in a year is called the velocity of money, which well labeled with a V. In this case, V is 3. As our bill was spent 3 times in a year. The purpose pony ride and coffee are real goods and service, which well called way. And the price of those goods and service well called P. These are the variables in the quantity theory of money. For an economic as a whole. M will be the money supply or all the money in the economy. P will be how many times a dollar is spent purchasing finished goods and service. Some people hoard cash under their matters, so their dollars have a high velocity, while others spend or invest their money quickly and their dollar have a high velocity. V the number of times the average dollar is spent. P will the price level of all finished goods and service in an economy. Y will be all the finished goods and service sold in an economy. Nominal GDP equals P multiply Y. So, Y is a real GDP, and when you multiply it by a measure of the price level, you get nominal GDP. Something over here, you take all our money and multiply it by how many times the average dollar was spent or fee, and you get nominal GDP as well. Nominal GDP equals M multiply fee. So these are equal by definition, which is why we call this equation an identity. One way to think about this that how much money we have in total times how many times the money is spent covers the action of buyers. The stuff we sell times the price we charge covers the action of sellers. M multiply fee equals P multiply Y. The core identity, the M time P must equal P time Y. Give us a lot of insight and a way of organizing our talk about important macroeconomics issues.